I always thought my life was simple, almost boring in a peaceful way, and I liked it like that. I liked waking up knowing Lena would text me something sweet, or Mark would call to ask if I wanted breakfast from the cafe near his apartment. But even then, before everything collapsed, something in me kept whispering that the ground under my feet wasn't as solid as I believed. I kept ignoring it, pretending I didn't see the way Lena's smile began to fade whenever I asked where she was going or why she suddenly needed space. One night, while we were eating dinner, I tried to break the silence by asking, "You okay? You feel different lately." She didn't look at me. She just said, "I'm fine. Stop worrying." Her voice wasn't angry, just distant, and that distance scared me more than shouting would have. When I told Mark about it the next day, he laughed and said, "Bro, she's probably just stressed. Don't overthink it." But then he added, "I can talk to her for you if you want," and something sharp twisted in my stomach. I told him no, but he already seemed too comfortable talking about her. I remember asking, "Why do I feel like I'm losing everything?" and he shrugged like he didn't hear the fear in my voice. Days passed. Lena stopped replying to me at night. Mark stopped calling me in the mornings. When I asked them what was going on, they both said the same thing, "You're imagining stuff." I felt stupid believing them, but I kept trying. I kept hoping. One afternoon, I asked, "Do you guys want to hang out Friday?" Lena shook her head. "I'm busy." Mark said, "Yeah, me too." They didn't even look at each other when they said it, and that scared me more than if they had. I tried talking to Mom about it. She asked gently, "Do you trust them?" I answered too fast, "Of course I do," and she just gave me that look that said she knew I was lying to myself. I didn't want to think the worst. I didn't want to imagine Lena choosing someone else or Mark stabbing me in the back. So I kept telling myself everything was fine until the night everything shattered. I remember standing outside Lena's apartment door, holding the small gift I bought her for no reason, just because I missed the way she used to smile at me. I even rehearsed a stupid line like, "I wanted to surprise you." I knocked. No answer. I knocked again, a little louder, then pushed the handle because I knew she never locked it when she was home. The door opened. I stepped inside quietly, smiling like an idiot, ready to say her name. Then I heard whispers. A voice I knew. A voice I trusted. "Mark's. Are you sure he won't find out?" he asked. Lena whispered back, "He's too blind to see anything." My heart stopped. I moved closer, almost unwillingly, like my body wanted the truth even if my soul didn't. I saw them on her couch, too close, too comfortable, too familiar. Mark's hand was on her waist. Lena's head was on his shoulder. My fingers went numb, and the gift dropped to the floor with a soft thud. They both turned. Their eyes widened like they were the ones betrayed. Mark stood up fast. "Bro, it's not what it looks like," he lied instantly. Lena grabbed a blanket to cover herself even though she didn't need to. She whispered, "Please, wait, let me explain." I felt something inside me crack so hard I almost heard it. I looked at both of them and asked, my voice breaking, "Both of you? Really?" Neither of them answered. Neither of them had to. The silence between us screamed the truth. Louder than their words ever could. I stepped back, shaking so hard I thought I would fall. Lena reached out, but I moved away from her touch like it burned. Mark kept saying my name, but it didn't sound like my best friend's voice anymore. I turned around and walked out, feeling the world collapse behind me. I didn't stop. I didn't look back. I just kept walking, knowing my life would never be the same again. I didn't sleep the night I walked out of Lena's apartment. I lay on my bed staring at the ceiling, trying to understand how two people I loved could tear my world apart in one moment. By morning, I felt like my chest was full of broken glass. Mom knocked softly and said, "Sweetheart, open the door. Please." I whispered, "I'm fine," even though my voice cracked so badly it sounded like a lie even to me. She tried again. Talk to me. I pressed my forehead to the door and said, I can't, and she stopped knocking. I didn't leave my room that whole day. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Lena on that couch, Mark's hand on her waist, both of them acting like it wasn't their fault. I kept whispering to myself, when did they start? How long was I blind? The questions made me sick. At night, I stared at my phone, reading our old messages until my vision blurred. I remembered the way Lena used to say, "You're the only one who really sees me," and I laughed bitterly because now I knew I hadn't seen anything. The next morning, I finally looked at myself in the mirror. My eyes were red, my face pale. What did I do wrong? I asked my reflection, and for a moment I hated the person staring back. While I was still trying to feel steady, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Lena, "Can we talk? You walked in at the wrong time. You don't understand." I felt my hands shake as I typed, "I saw enough." She replied, "You're overreacting. You always do." I threw my phone onto the bed and said aloud, "You cheated on me. How am I overreacting?" Before I could calm down, another notification popped up. A voice note from Mark. I hesitated, then pressed play. His voice sounded tired, almost annoyed. "Bro, it just happened. We didn't plan it. Don't make this bigger than it is." I covered my face with both hands and cried because the betrayal was heavy, but the dismissal was worse. They ruined my relationship, destroyed our friendship, and still acted like I was the problem. I opened the chat, blocked Lena, then blocked Mark, and whispered, "Goodbye," even though it hurt so much my whole body trembled. After 3 days of suffocating in my room, I forced myself outside just so I could breathe something other than misery. I walked without thinking, hands in my pockets, hoodie up, eyes on the ground. I must have looked half dead. As I crossed the street near the old cafe I used to visit, I heard someone call my name. "Hey, wait. Is that you?" I looked up and saw Jonah, a guy I hadn't seen since high school. He was holding a laptop bag and looked surprised. "Man, you look like you've been hit by a truck," he said gently. I tried to smile, but it felt weak. "Rough week," I muttered. He stepped closer. "What happened?" I shook my head. "You don't want to hear it." He crossed his arms and said, "Try me." Something about his tone made me stop pretending. I sat on a bench and whispered, "My girlfriend cheated on me, with my best friend." Jonah blinked. "Both of them? Seriously?" I nodded. "I walked in on them." His jaw tightened. "That's messed up." I laughed bitterly. "Yeah. I keep wondering why I wasn't enough." Jonah shook his head fast. "No. Don't do that. This isn't about you." I looked down at my hands. "Then why does it feel like everything is my fault?" He sat next to me and said quietly, "Because you cared. People who care always blame themselves first." I swallowed hard. I don't know what to do now. I feel empty. He leaned forward. "You don't deserve this. And you don't have to stay broken." Something in me shifted when he said that, like a spark lighting inside my chest. I looked at him and asked, "How do I move on?" He smiled faintly. "Start by standing back up. Then take back your life piece by piece. You'll see." As he spoke, the pain in my chest didn't disappear, but it changed. The sadness turned sharp, focused, anger forming into something clearer. I whispered, "Maybe it's time I stop hurting and start fighting." And for the first time since that night, I felt myself breathe. When Jonah texted me the next morning saying, "Come to my office. I want to show you something," I almost said no. I didn't feel ready to be around people, and I definitely didn't feel ready to pretend I was fine. But something in his message felt solid, like a hand reaching out in the dark, so I forced myself to reply, okay. I'll come. When I walked into the glass building, I whispered, "What am I doing here?" before taking a shaky breath. Jonah met me in the lobby with a grin. "Relax," he said, patting my shoulder. "You look like you're entering a courtroom." I muttered, "Feels like it," and he laughed. "Come on. Let me show you Blue Nova." As we walked through the hall, screens lit up everywhere, people typed fast, and the energy felt alive. I whispered, "This place feels too big for me." Jonah turned to me. "Stop saying things like that. Just look." He opened a door to a workspace full of monitors and said, "This is where the magic happens." I stared at the data dashboards glowing across the screens and asked, "You do all this?" He shook his head. "No. We do. And I want you to be part of that, I blinked. "Me? Jonah, I'm barely holding myself together." He leaned against a desk. "You're good with systems. You used to fix half the school's computers for free. You understand patterns. You understand people." I laughed softly. "Lately I don't understand anything about people." He nodded slowly. "Yeah. You trusted the wrong ones. Now trust the right ones." Before I could respond, a calm voice said, "Jonah, is this the guy?" I turned and saw a man with glasses and a quiet confidence. Jonah introduced him. "This is Aiden, our tech lead." "Aiden, this is the friend I told you about." Aiden shook my hand gently. "We need minds that see the bigger picture. Jonah thinks you have that." I swallowed. "I don't know if I'm that person anymore." Aiden replied, "Pain doesn't erase skill. It sharpens it." Before I could process that, a woman with sharp eyes walked in. "Is this him?" she asked, raising a brow. Jonah smiled. "Yeah. Maya, be nice." She smirked. "I'm always nice." Then she looked at me. "You look like someone who needs a win." I answered honestly, "I do." She nodded. "Good. We don't do fake here. Just work." Then another voice chimed in, soft and warm. "Jonah, you should let him sit. He looks overwhelmed." I turned to see a woman with kind eyes. She smiled at me. "I'm Rhea. HR, but mostly emotional support for these chaos gremlins." I laughed quietly. "Nice to meet you." Jonah clapped his hands. "Okay. Everyone, give me a minute with him." They walked out, leaving the room quiet. Jonah turned to me. "So? You interested?" I rubbed my hands together. "I don't know. I feel broken. I don't want to drag that in here." Jonah stepped closer and asked, "Do you want to stay broken?" I shook my head fast. "No, then this is where you start fixing things," he said. "We're not asking you to be perfect. Just willing." I hesitated. "What if I fail?" Jonah smiled. "Then you'll learn. And fail better next time." I took a deep breath. What would I even do here? He pointed to a screen. Data flow analysis. System mapping. Problem solving. Stuff you used to be good at before life punched you in the face. I looked at the patterns on the monitors. Something inside me stirred, not pain, not fear, something like possibility. "Okay," I whispered. Jonah grinned. "Okay, yes. Or okay, maybe." I sighed. "Okay, yes." Within hours, they set me up at a desk. Aiden walked over and said, "If you get stuck, ask." Maya added, "If you break something, admit it fast." Rhea set a bottle of water next to me and whispered, "And if it gets too loud in your head, come find me." I smiled for the first time in days. As I started working, Jonah leaned against my desk and said quietly, "Healing is power." Let's turn your pain into something they can never touch again. And for the first time since my heart shattered, I felt like maybe I could. I kept telling myself I was fine, that months of working at Blue Nova had rebuilt me into someone stronger, but there were nights when I stared at the ceiling and felt the old bruises on my heart pulse again. Even then, I couldn't deny how far I'd come. "You're different now," Rhea said one morning as she handed me coffee. "In a good way." I laughed and told her, "I'm trying." Jonah pushed me harder than anyone. "Your mind is sharper," he kept reminding me. "Your work proves it." Aiden checked my code one afternoon and nodded. "You're catching mistakes before I even see them." That wasn't the case before. Maya threw me a smirk. "Look at you. A whole evolution arc." I wished I felt as transformed as they said, but the scars were still inside me. I didn't hide them, I just walked with them. One Friday afternoon, Aiden leaned against my desk. "Heard something weird," he said. "About your past two ghosts." My chest tightened. "Lena and Mark?" He nodded. "They've been fighting non-stop at Brightcore. People say it's getting ugly." I pretended to shrug. "Doesn't matter to me." Maya spun her chair toward me. "You're lying." Your eye twitched. I exhaled. "Fine. Maybe it matters a little. But I'm not going back to that misery." Rhea joined us, arms folded. "Don't let their chaos pull you in again. Brightcore is a mess. Vincent King only cares about power. People either impress him or he crushes them." I raised a brow. "Sounds fun." She groaned. "I'm serious. Stay away." But later that night, alone at my desk, I found myself whispering, "Karma's moving." Because it was. Friends kept messaging me with updates I never asked for. Lena showed up crying after a fight. Mark owes money to people you don't want to owe money to. They look stressed. Each message hit me with a strange mixture of satisfaction and pity. I didn't hate them anymore, not the way I did in the beginning. But a part of me couldn't deny the quiet justice of watching their perfect world fracture. At lunch the next day, Jonah noticed my silence. "You heard about them?" I nodded. "Everyone keeps telling me." He leaned forward. "And how do you feel?" I hesitated. "Like, the universe is finally balancing something." He tapped the table. "You're allowed to feel that. Just don't let it derail you." I looked out the window. Their relationship is crashing. Mark's finances are falling apart. Lena keeps asking people about me. Jonah frowned. "Why?" I shook my head. "I don't know. Maybe guilt. Maybe regret. Maybe she thought throwing me away would fix her life." Maya raised her sandwich. Plot twist, it didn't. We all laughed, but inside, I felt something darker. A quiet flame. Not revenge, something sharper. Purpose. That evening, Rhea stepped into my workspace. "You're thinking about Brightcore." I blinked. "How did you?" She smirked. "You get this look when you're about to touch fire." I sighed. "I'm not planning anything. I just want to understand why their world is collapsing." She shook her head. "Vincent King destroys weak foundations. He preys on insecurity." Lena and Mark walked in with bleeding egos. "Of course they're falling apart." I leaned back. "Maybe their downfall is the start of my rise." Rhea put a hand on my shoulder. "Then rise for yourself, not because they're falling." On my way home, her words echoed in my head. I wasn't the broken version of myself anymore. I had a team. I had a purpose. And I was finally learning to breathe without pain clawing at my ribs. But even with all that growth, I couldn't stop the spark of curiosity burning in me. I checked my phone one last time that night. Another message from a friend, Bright Core just announced a high-pressure audit. People say Vincent is furious. I whispered to myself, let the storm hit. Because for the first time in a long time, I wasn't afraid of storms. I was learning how to stand in them, and maybe, just maybe, become one myself. I told myself it was just another event, just another tech partnership gathering, but the moment I stepped through the glass doors, my chest tightened. The room buzzed with polished conversations, flashing badges, and confident smiles. Jonah nudged me forward. Relax, he whispered. You belong here. I let out a slow breath. I'm trying. Maya slipped beside me with a grin. You look like someone who just saw a ghost. Maybe I did, I muttered. She raised an eyebrow. Who? I didn't answer, not yet. I followed our team farther inside, my steps slowing when I spotted a familiar logo across the hall, Bright Core. My stomach dropped. You've got to be kidding me, I murmured. Aiden glanced back. Problem? Yeah, I whispered. 2 of them. I saw them before they saw me. Lena stood beside a Bright Core banner, fake smile plastered on her lips. Mark hovered near her, adjusting his tie like he was trying too hard to look important. I froze. Jonah looked at me. Are you okay? I swallowed. No. But I will be. And then it happened. Lena turned, probably expecting another guest to greet, but the second her eyes met mine, her smile collapsed. Her lips parted. The color drained from her face. I didn't move. I didn't flinch. I just stood there in my tailored suit, surrounded by the people who had helped rebuild me. She took one shaky step forward. You're here, she whispered. Clearly. My voice was calm, steady, nothing like the broken version she'd last seen. Mark's eyes widened. Hey, man. Long time. I ignored him completely. He forced a laugh. You look different. New job treating you well? Maya leaned in and muttered, he's not worth a mosquito bite. I almost smiled. Lena's gaze didn't leave me. She stepped closer. Can we talk, please? Every muscle in my body tensed. I could feel Rhea watching me from behind, ready to step in if I needed her. Lena's voice grew smaller. Just a minute. Please. I looked her straight in the eyes. No, her breath caught. Just no. Yes, I said. No, she blinked fast, like she didn't know how to process the version of me standing in front of her. I didn't want it to end like, I cut her off. Don't. Mark attempted a grin. We're all adults here. No need for drama. Aiden snorted. Funny hearing that from you. Vincent King appeared before any of us noticed him approaching. His presence cut the air like a blade. He glanced at me, then at Lena, then at Mark. What's happening here? Mark stiffened. Nothing, sir. Just saying hi. Vincent's eyes narrowed. You're here to work, not socialize with people you've failed before. Mark swallowed hard. Sir, not another word, Vincent snapped, pulling him aside. I watched Mark shrink under the man's glare, and for a moment, I felt nothing. No sympathy. No hope for them. Just distance. Lena lingered, her eyes begging for something I wouldn't give. You really won't talk to me, she whispered. No, my voice didn't shake. She looked down at her shoes, then back up. You're different. I had to be, I said. You made sure of that. She opened her mouth again, but I stepped away, joining my team without looking back. Maya whispered, I'm proud of you. Jonah placed a hand on my shoulder. Breathe. I finally exhaled. The rest of the event passed in a blur. Partnerships were discussed, ideas exchanged, opportunities explored, but my mind kept replaying the moment I saw them crumble in front of me. When we got back to the office late that night, Jonah motioned for me to follow him. "Sit," he said softly. He opened a file on his screen. "You should see this. Numbers, charts, projections, Brightcore's financials. All nosediving. They're close to collapse," Jonah said. "Very close." I stared at the screen, silent. Vincent's been cutting departments. Investors are pulling out. Their last product launch failed. I leaned back. "So everything's catching up to them?" Jonah nodded. "Yes. The question is, what do you want to do?" I lifted my gaze to him. "Do?" "Yes," he said. "Let this play out. Intervene. Walk away. What do you want?" I thought about Lena's shaking voice, Mark's forced smile, Vincent's cold anger. I thought about myself, where I was, who I was becoming. My answer came quietly, but firmly. "I want to win." Quietly. Jonah smiled. "Then we'll build. And let the rest collapse on its own." I nodded, feeling something inside me settle. Tonight wasn't pain. It wasn't revenge. It was clarity. And clarity felt powerful. I didn't expect the rise of Blue Nova to feel this personal, but every day I walked into the office, I felt something sharp and electric inside me, like purpose had finally found me. Rhea noticed it first. "You're working like you've got something to prove," she teased one morning. I laughed. "Maybe I do." Aiden looked up from his screen. "Your projections yesterday saved us 3 weeks of trial." Maya added, "Jonah keeps saying you're our secret weapon." I shook my head. "I'm just trying not to mess anything up." Jonah overheard and stepped into the room. "Then stop talking like you're temporary. You're shaping this place with us." I wanted to believe it. I really did. But part of me still carried the old pain like a bruise I didn't want to touch. That bruise pulsed harder each time Brightcore appeared in the news. "Another failed launch," Aiden muttered one afternoon, scrolling through an article. "Vincent's losing it." Maya whistled. "Layoffs. And the investors aren't happy." Rhea sighed. "You'd think they'd try to fix their attitude before their finances." I stared at the headline. "They won't. Ego comes first." Jonah looked at me. "You pity them?" "No," I said quietly. "Not anymore." Brightcore kept cracking. The industry was watching. Our competitors were watching. I was watching. A week later, we attended another tech mixer. I didn't plan for what happened there. While I was washing my hands in the restroom, I heard a voice through the thin wall. A soft sob. Then another. My heart recognized it before my mind did. "Lena. Please," she whispered to someone. "I'm trying. I'm doing everything I can." Silence. Then a shaky breath. "I can't lose this job too." I froze. I stared at the mirror, jaw tight. Her voice trembled again. "Why is everything falling apart?" Another sob. "Why now?" I didn't move. I didn't knock. I didn't comfort her. I walked out of the restroom, letting the door swing shut behind me. Rhea spotted my expression. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "Just thinking." "About them?" I nodded once. She touched my arm softly. "Let karma work." I whispered. "By not going back." 2 days later, Brightcore made headlines again, worse headlines. Mark became the main scapegoat. "Look at this," Aiden said, turning his laptop toward me. "Vincent publicly blamed your old friend for everything." Maya added, "They leaked internal chats." "It's brutal." I scanned the article. Mark's statements were desperate, defensive. He looked like a man sinking with a weight tied around his ankle. I should have felt something. Anger. Satisfaction. Pity. But I felt nothing. Just distance, like I was looking at a stranger making predictable mistakes. Jonah sat beside me. How do you feel? Like I'm watching a building collapse in slow motion, I said. One I was forced to live in once. Jonah nodded. You're rising. They're falling. It happens. Feels strange, I murmured. Strange good or strange bad? Both. We kept building Blue Nova. Every week brought new wins, new partners, new clients, new breakthroughs. My ideas got traction. My team trusted me. My confidence grew roots. And Bright Core kept burning. At another industry event, the contrast was sharp. Blue Nova's booth was packed. Bright Core's was nearly empty. Vincent stood stiff as stone, eyes scanning the room like someone hunting for excuses. Lena looked exhausted, makeup smudged like she hadn't slept. Mark hovered behind Vincent, shoulders slumped, eyes dull. A part of me wondered if they'd ever imagined this moment, me walking past them without hesitation, without fear, without a single piece of my heart left for them to break. Keep moving, Jonah whispered beside me. You don't owe them a second of your time. I know, I said, and I did exactly that. Later that night, Jonah called me into the meeting room. His tone was different, serious, deliberate. Sit, he said. We need to talk. I sat down slowly. What happened? He opened a folder on the screen, and my chest tightened. Bright Core's internal reports. Financial collapse in numbers. Debt piling. Investors fleeing. Mismanagement everywhere. Jonah took a breath. There's more. He clicked to the next slide. Bright Core is for sale. I stared at the screen. My pulse thundered in my ears. For sale, I repeated. Yes. Jonah leaned forward. A private acquisition. Quiet. Strategic. And we can take it. My breath caught. Why are you telling me? Because, he said, I know what that place meant to you. What those people did to you. And what you've built since. I swallowed hard. You think I should buy the company where I got my heart shattered? I think, he said slowly, you should decide what your healing looks like. I stared at the glowing screen again, the logo that used to make my stomach twist. Now it looked small. Weak. Breakable. What would happen if we bought it? I asked. We restructure it. Clean out the mess. Build something new. Something better. And you'd play a major role in the transformation. Meaning? Meaning you'd be the one who decides what stays, what goes, and who gets replaced. I felt heat surge through me. Not anger. Not revenge. Something deeper. Strength. A reclaiming. Jonah softened his voice. I need your answer. Are you ready to own the place where your heartbreak began? I closed my eyes. For a moment, I heard everything at once, Lena's sob in the bathroom, Mark's excuses, Vincent's cruelty, my own voice from months ago asking why I wasn't enough. Then I saw something else, Blue Nova. My team. My progress. My new life. My heart pounded as I whispered, yes. Jonah exhaled. Then we moved forward. I opened my eyes. Let's do it. He smiled. Good. This time, you hold the match. And for the first time, burning down the past didn't feel like destruction. It felt like freedom. I didn't sleep the night before the acquisition. My mind kept replaying the same sentence, 72%. I'm about to own 72% of the company that once destroyed me. But when morning came, I walked into the signing room steady, collected, and strangely calm. Vincent was already there, hunched over the long table like the deal itself was crushing him. He looked up when I entered. "You actually did it," he muttered. His voice cracked. You really pulled this off." "I warned you I would," I said. "Brightcore collapsed long before I got here. I'm just picking up the pieces." Vincent pushed the contract toward me with trembling fingers. "Take it," he whispered. "I'm done." "You're sure?" I asked. His laugh sounded tired, defeated. "I've never been more sure of anything. Do you think I want to keep running a sinking ship? Take it. Fix it. Burn it. I don't care anymore." "Then we sign," I replied. The pens clicked. His signature looked shaky and uneven. Mine didn't. When the final page was stamped, he exhaled like he'd been underwater for years. "It's your company now," he said. "God help you." "God help me the moment you underestimated me," I answered. The boardroom was already full when I walked in for my first meeting as owner. Conversations buzzed around the polished table, but everything froze when I took my seat at the head. A few directors nodded respectfully. Others looked confused. One or two looked terrified. Good. But none of their reactions compared to what happened when Lena and Mark walked in. Lena stopped so suddenly that Mark bumped into her. Her mouth fell open. "No, no way," she breathed. Mark went pale instantly. "You've got to be kidding." I folded my hands. "Please, have a seat." Lena's voice came out in a whisper. "You?" "Yes," I said. "I own Brightcore now." For a moment, nobody moved. The tension in the room thickened until it felt like even the walls were waiting for what I'd say next. Lena finally dragged herself into a chair. I don't understand," she tried. "How? When? Why?" Mark swallowed hard. We never expected. You never expected to see me again in a position you couldn't sabotage," I said. "I know. I didn't sabotage anything," Lena snapped, but her voice shook. "You did," I replied. "Multiple times. But that's old history. Let's move forward." She leaned forward desperately. "Please listen. I wasn't trying to ruin your career. Things got complicated. People talked. Projects moved fast." "Stop," I said quietly. The word froze her mid-sentence. Mark cleared his throat. "Look, man, whatever happened back then, it was just business. Everyone does what they have to. You know how the industry is." "Yes," I said. "I know exactly how the industry is. That's why we're here." Mark glanced around the room, hoping someone would rescue him. No one did. "You're not here to punish us, right?" "I'm not here for revenge," I said. Lena bit her lip. "Then what do you want?" "To lead the company you once pushed me out of," I answered. "To fix what you helped break. To rebuild what you said I wasn't capable of." Her eyes filled instantly. "I didn't say that." "You implied it every single day," I said. "You don't need to pretend now." Mark raised both hands. "Okay, look. We didn't know things would fall apart like this. If we'd known you were coming back, you would have treated me better." I asked. "You would have played nice." He shrugged helplessly. "Maybe." I leaned back in the chair that used to terrify me. "That's honest. I'll give you that." Lena wiped her cheek. "So what happens now?" she whispered. "We work," I said. "Professionally. Efficiently. Without the games you two were so good at." "And us?" she asked. "Our jobs?" "Your jobs depend on your work," I said. "Not on your history with me." Mark let out a shaky breath. So you're not firing us? Not today. He flinched at the word today. Lena twisted her hands together. I swear I can do better. If you give me a chance, I'll prove it. I'll make things right. You don't need to make things right with me, I said. Just do your job. Her voice cracked. I never meant to hurt you. I know, I said. You were focused on yourself. She flinched. Look, Mark said, we didn't know what you were dealing with. We didn't know the pressure you were under. If we'd understood. You didn't want to understand, I said. Understanding me wasn't useful to you back then. He had no answer to that. I continued, this company broke me once. But I learned from it. And now I get to decide how the story continues. Lena whispered, so this is a power shift. This, I said, is clarity. Vincent, my predecessor, poked his head into the room. Everything signed, he asked. Yes, I replied. He nodded stiffly at the board members. He's in charge now. Listen to him. Lena looked at me with a mixture of dread and awe. I can't believe this, she whispered. You're seriously the owner. 72%, I said. Enough to steer the ship exactly where it needs to go. And where's that? Mark asked quietly. Ahead, I said. Not backward. Lena's breath hitched. Are we part of that future? That's up to you, I replied. I'm not here to ruin you. I'm just learning who you really are. She lowered her head. Then I hope you see something worth keeping. We'll find out, I said. Starting now. And with that, the meeting began. The power shift was complete. I walked into the Brightcore office that morning with the same calm I'd worn since taking control. But inside, my heartbeat skipped a little. Karma doesn't always arrive quietly, it sometimes slams the door open. Mark, Vincent barked across the boardroom. Explain these discrepancies. Mark froze, eyes darting. I don't. Don't what? Lie to me? Vincent slammed a folder on the table. Falsifying reports. Misleading investors. Do you know what that could have cost this company? I thought, Mark stammered. I was trying to cover your incompetence, Vincent interrupted. Exactly. You're done here. I leaned back in my chair, folding my hands. The weight of months of betrayal lifted slightly, but I didn't gloat. I simply observed. Mark's face went pale. Please, not like this. I can fix it. I can make it right. Too late, Vincent said. You've lost trust, credibility, and the team's respect. Pack your things. Mark opened his mouth again, but I shook my head. I don't need to say it. You dug your own hole. Walk out. That's your lesson. He slumped, defeated, and shuffled toward the elevator. I didn't watch him go. My eyes stayed on Lena. She had been silent until now, sitting in the corner, makeup smudged, hands twisting in her lap. I noticed her before anyone else could. Rhea whispered, brace yourself. She's about to break. And she did. I made a mistake, Lena said softly, barely audible. I chose wrong. I took a slow breath and spoke gently. No, you chose exactly who you are. Her eyes widened. What do you mean? You followed yourself, not me, not the company, not the people who trusted you, I said. You can cry about it, you can regret it, but it won't change who you are. That's on you. She buried her face in her hands. I didn't mean to. I know, I interrupted softly. And that's the point. It wasn't about intention. It was about action. The room was quiet except for the sound of her sobbing. I didn't look away. I didn't need to. Jonah leaned toward me, whispering, "You okay?" "I am," I said. "I think. I finally am." Later that afternoon, Blue Nova called a small team meeting to celebrate a major contract we just closed. Aiden smirked at me. "Looks like we're unstoppable." Maya laughed, tossing her pen onto the table. "You led us here. You owned it, literally and figuratively." Rhea smiled warmly. "And you did it without burning bridges unnecessarily." I shrugged, a little embarrassed. "I'm proud. But I'm still me. Still human. Still wounded." Maya leaned forward. "Wounded, yes. But you're healing." I nodded. "Step by step." Aiden clapped me on the shoulder. "Step by step, boss." The room erupted in small cheers, laughter, and shared pride. I smiled, letting it in. Letting myself feel alive again, even if a small part of me would always remember the pain. 2 days later, I confronted Lena and Mark one last time. Not in anger. Not in judgment. But in a quiet, cold peace. "I'm done carrying the pain," I said as they stood in front of me. Lena blinked. You mean it?" "Yes," I said. "I'm done. You can keep it. Keep your regrets. Keep your lies. Keep the version of yourself that hurt me." Mark swallowed hard. "So, you're not angry?" "I'm done being angry at what's already happened," I said. "You taught me everything I needed to learn." Lena's lips trembled. "And what's that?" "That I'm stronger than I thought," I said. "That my life doesn't need approval or forgiveness from people who never cared about me in the first place. That healing is power." Her shoulders sagged. I never realized." "You did realize," I said softly. "Too late, maybe. But realizing is only useful if it changes you." Mark's gaze dropped. "And I don't think it will." "Then it's your lesson," I said. "Not mine." I turned, walking out of that room with my head held high. Lena and Mark stayed behind, silent, powerless. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. When I returned to Blue Nova, my team greeted me like a hero, but I knew better. I was still human. Still flawed. Still learning. But I was no longer broken. Jonah came up beside me, grinning. Well, what?" I asked. He gestured toward the city skyline through the window. "Everything. The company, the team, the revenge, the karma, everything you've waited for." I smiled, a real, quiet smile. "It's ours now," I said. "And it feels like freedom." Rhea joined us. "Freedom suits you." I nodded. "It does. And this time, I'm not letting anyone take it away." The weight of old betrayal lifted from my chest. The room buzzed with celebration, but inside, I felt a different kind of triumph, soft, quiet, undeniable. I whispered to myself, "I'm done carrying the pain. They can keep it. I'm moving forward." And for the first time in a long time, I truly believed it. I stood in the Brightcore boardroom one last time, the morning light slicing across the polished table. Jonah was already there, sorting papers with his usual calm precision. "You sure about this?" he asked. "I am," I said. "I've done what I came to do. The company's stable, the team's intact. It's time I stepped back." He looked up at me, eyebrows raised. "No hesitation." "Not a single second," I said. "This isn't about revenge anymore. It's about peace." He smiled faintly. "Peace, that's new for you." I shrugged. "It's overdue." The boardroom filled with murmurs as I made the announcement. "I'm resigning my position on Brightcore's board," I said. I'm giving full control to Jonah. He'll steer the company from here. Gasps echoed quietly. Some directors looked relieved, some shocked. I ignored it all. Jonah approached, extending his hand. You trust me? I shook it firmly. Completely. And you're sure about leaving? Yes, I said. This is the last chapter for me here. Later, my phone buzzed with a message. Lena. I opened it. The screen filled with words, I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt you. I was selfish, I was blind. Please forgive me. I was wrong. I stared at it for a long moment. My fingers hovered over the screen. Then I deleted it. No words could change the past. No apology could rewrite the choices she made. I didn't need her remorse. Mark's name appeared next. He asked to meet, to talk. I agreed. We met in a quiet cafe, the air thick with memories and things left unsaid. I want to apologize, he started, voice low. I know I hurt you. I know I betrayed you. I was wrong. I looked at him calmly, studying the man who once tried to control my life with lies. I forgive you, I said. But I'm not going back. I won't let the past dictate my present anymore. He swallowed hard. So, that's it? That's it, I said. You keep your life. I keep mine. No grudges, no revenge, no chains. He nodded slowly, as if understanding for the first time. And you really mean peace? I do, I said softly. Peace isn't about forgetting. It's about moving forward without letting pain rule me. Jonah called later, checking in on me. You really stepped away. Yes, I said. And it feels good. Freedom, finally. Ria texted shortly after, you okay? I typed back, better than I've been in years. Walking through the city that evening, I realized something crucial. I hadn't needed revenge to feel alive. I hadn't needed Brightcore to collapse entirely, or to make Lena and Mark suffer. My victory was in the silence I maintained, in the choices I made for myself, not for them. I remembered every sleepless night, every tear, every feeling of helplessness. And I realized that every single moment had led me to this clarity. I was stronger. Wiser. Freed from the chains of their betrayal. I smiled faintly, thinking aloud to no one in particular, healing is the real victory. Not money, not power, not revenge. Healing. Aiden, Maya, and Ria had come to check on me that evening, bringing coffee and small smiles. How's the new life? Aiden asked. Quiet, I said. Calm. And exactly what I needed. Maya raised an eyebrow. No thoughts of Brightcore. No lingering resentment. I shook my head. No. That chapter is closed. I own my peace, and that's enough. Ria placed her hand on my shoulder. You've grown so much. I have, I admitted. And it feels good to finally feel that truth in my chest. The pain was loud once, but now, my silence is louder than their betrayal ever was. Walking home, I passed places I used to walk with Lena and Mark. The memories surfaced, sharp at first, but then softened by distance and time. I didn't need to confront them. I didn't need closure from them. I had found it within myself. Sitting on my balcony, the city lights flickering below, I whispered to no one, they broke me thinking I would stay silent. But I rose, and my silence became the loudest answer. I leaned back, letting the cool night air brush my face, feeling the final weight of my old life lift off my shoulders. For the first time, I was truly free. No calls, no apologies, no regrets could touch me anymore. My peace had become my ultimate revenge, the one no one could take away. And I smiled, finally, completely, at the life I was choosing for me. I walked into the therapy office with my hands tucked in my pockets, heart hammering like it always did before something important. "Hi," the therapist said warmly. "I'm Dr. Ellis. Have a seat." I sat, staring at the window. "I don't know where to start." "You start where it hurts," she said calmly. "Everything else will follow." I hesitated. Then I said, "I trusted people. And they broke me. My girlfriend. My best friend. I thought I'd never feel whole again." She nodded. "And yet, you're here. I guess." "I want to stop letting it control me," I admitted. "I want to feel free." "Good," she said. "Freedom begins with honesty. With yourself." I exhaled slowly. "Okay. I'll try." Later that week, I met some new friends at a small coffee shop near Blue Nova. Jonah had introduced me, and I could already feel the warmth of real connection, people who didn't have strings attached. Aiden grinned. "So this is your off-duty side?" "Off-duty," I said, laughing for the first time in months. "I think I like it." Maya nudged me playfully. "You need balance. Work isn't everything." "I know," I said. "And honestly, it's easier now. I'm not haunted by their mistakes anymore." Rhea added, "You've worked hard to build this life. Let yourself enjoy it." I looked at them, feeling the weight lift slowly. "I think I'm finally learning to," I admitted. Back at home, Mom peeked into my room one evening. "You've been smiling a lot lately," she said softly. "I have," I admitted. "I finally feel like me again." Tears filled her eyes. "I've waited so long to see this." "I know," I said. "And I'm not going back to the old me. I promise." She hugged me tightly. "You earned it." "I did," I whispered. At Blue Nova, things were changing too. My role had grown, not because I chased power, but because I had finally learned how to lead with clarity and calm. Jonah walked by my desk. "You're doing great. People are noticing." "Thanks," I said. "I just show up, I do my part, and let everyone else do theirs." "That's wisdom," he said. "You've earned it." I smiled quietly. Feels good to finally be comfortable in my own skin. Aiden popped his head in. "Boss, are you okay? You've been glowing lately." I laughed softly. "I think that's called happiness." Some evenings, I sit on my balcony, city lights flickering below. I think about the past, the heartbreak, the betrayal, the nights I cried myself to sleep. And I tell the reader directly, as if you were here beside me, pain changed me. But it didn't end me. I've learned that healing isn't a one-time thing. It's a process, a series of small choices, small victories, and moments of courage. I text Jonah, Aiden, Maya, and Rhea sometimes, just to share a laugh or a thought. The bonds we've built are different from the ones I lost, they're honest, open, and real. Mom calls me on Sunday nights. "How's my favorite son?" she teases. "Better than ever," I say. I'm finally living my life. And I am. I meet new people, share new experiences, and allow myself to dream again. There's no anger left, no hunger for revenge, no need to prove myself to those who tried to break me. I've proved it to myself already. I glance at my reflection in the window. I see someone who's scarred, yes, but resilient. Someone who fell hard, but stood taller than before. Someone who learned that silence can be stronger than words, and peace can be the loudest victory. The past is a closed book. I hold it gently, but I don't carry it anymore. My future stretches ahead, bright and untangled, full of promise. And I whisper to myself, quietly but firmly, I chose this life. I chose peace. I chose me. Pain shaped me, betrayal tried to define me, and heartbreak pushed me to my limits. But I survived. I grew. And now, finally, I live. With hope in my chest, strength in my hands, and a heart that finally trusts itself again, I step forward into the new life I chose. And for the first time in forever, I feel whole.